Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks, and once again we are working on the Submarine. I have been bad at recording videos, so no DSV lately. But in today's episode, we are going to be working on that little area that I just kind of pointed out with our mouse. If you missed, or if you watched the last episode, we're basically just going to continue right where we left off. So this little space was a freezer. We closed it off. We didn't really do anything more with it, but in this episode, we're going to get that decorated up, and I do also want to get a little bit of the galley done. And basically, once we get that done, we pretty much only have the forward section of the submarine to do and some detailing. So, kind of, I guess, the last non-bunk room that we need to do. So, kind of exciting. But yeah, I do want to I want to get this all blocked out. And yeah, we're right into the build. I'm already into the time lapse. So yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. And just for your guys' sake, in today's episode, we are not going to finish these rooms up. We're just getting a lot of the shaping done. So that is kind of the game plan. I want to get this room blocked off and turned into a galley that's kind of just hallway shaped. And then we'll get the freezer right behind this decorated too. So I don't know why I'm going with modular door frames there. Let's just get a real door. Get that labeled, and I wanted to put like a little window right here. So this is ideally where you get your food. I know a little awkward with the stairwell being in the way, but I think we can make this work. I think this will be a pretty decent option as far as squeezing the kitchen in for galley. That being said, also not the safest place to have it right next to the reactor, but we are going to basically do a shakedown of some of the life support systems later in this episode. So definitely stick around for that if you want to see that. I will basically start a fire later, and we'll see if the submarine systems properly put the fire out, and that's kind of the goal. So they should properly extinguish it and then fix the air in the cabin. So we will do that towards the end of this episode. But for now, I do want to get all of these walls partitioned up. And the big thing with this galley is it's quite small, as you can see. So I'm just trying to maximize the space in here as much as possible. The nice thing is we do have a couple blocks behind us in the ballast tank that we can get into. But other than that, it is not a huge galley. But again, we're on a submarine. So space is kind of a precious commodity, and you're not going to get a giant, nice, luxurious kitchen. So anyways, I am going to block off the rest of this freezer, which goes down a couple blocks, and I figured just for the sake of maximizing space in here too, we might as well drop the floor in the freezer, and that will get us a little bit more room in the cold storage room. And I still do need to put the air conditioner, I guess, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's not really an air conditioner, but I do definitely need to make sure the cold storage is cold. So we will be doing that momentarily. And I also will slap you guys right on the wrist with a time lapse momentarily. But for now, I'm going to explain that real quick for those who haven't seen before. Basically, we're just going to take a heat exchanger, an air liquid heat exchanger. We're going to pump air from this room into it, and then we're going to pump seawater through the other side. And basically, seawater is always going to be colder than the ambient air. And unless you're in the Arctic, then it'll flip around at a certain temperature. But essentially, at that temperature, you're going to be able to keep this room cold with that water, anyways. So it doesn't really matter. Really, the bigger issue would be down in like the really warm water. But anyways, enough of that. I'm just adding a nice little intake here, and this lowering the floor also kind of worked out pretty nicely because now we can just get our intake for the seawater in and out. And we don't really need to go too crazy with this one. Obviously, it is a freezer, so we want to get it as cold as possible. But it's also a very small room. So we don't need to go absolutely crazy with the cooling unit, but this is basically how it's going to work. So we're just going to, these are my favorite heat exchangers to use, the 1x7, or I don't know, whatever, that shape. Use that shape. They're good. I like them. They're good. But yeah, so we're just going to get that. The whole system should only need 3 pumps or 4 if you really want to maximize the efficiency. And I know blah, 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 efficiency, not using the right pumps, whatever. Inline pumps are easy. I like them. I know they're annoying and loud. My ships are annoying and loud because they have HVAC. So that's not really a factor. But yeah, so we're just going to get a switch onto this, and we'll check out how cold it'll run later. But for now, I'm just using my normal control box. I will say we're not going to see its the higher end of its capabilities in this episode, because I need to change the microcontroller, and I didn't realize until maybe a few days after I recorded this. So we won't see this get to the maximum cold temperature, but I have seen this thing down at like 212 degrees Celsius. So definitely cold. I don't know. I don't really know what freezers are set up at off the top of my head, but whatever. I mean, 3 degrees Celsius, 2 degrees Celsius, that's pretty cold. So I'm going to just consider that good enough and a win. It's Stormworks. You don't actually need to cool anything. So but yeah, guys, that is basically how we're going to do this. You guys can see I'm only going one pump on this setup. And yeah, we'll check that out later while we do our smoke and fire shakedown. But I am going to hit you with the time lapse quick. So I'll talk to you in just a minute. right, guys. Well, we got the refrigerator or cold store or whatever you want to call it completely done. And we got the lighting in there. We'll check it out later in the live play. For now, I am hooking up the life support system. Now, I did recently put this life support system on the workshop. So if you guys want to go ahead and use it, there should be well, I don't know if there's a link in the description. I'll try to remember. Sometimes I'm bad. But right now I'm adding the CO2 pumps, which basically are going to force CO2 out of the cabin. And I know those valves up top are painted backwards. I'll fix that off camera. But basically the green line is pure oxygen and the white line is mixed fresh air. And you guys will basically, you'll get to see, I did a fire test on this before, but you guys will get to see one down here. And the game plan basically is that we're going to have the life support in basically every separate cavity. And I especially want one down here because of the galley, and we're right next to the reactor. So pretty big safety feature here to basically have some sort of automatic fire suppression near the reactor. So yeah, that's the game plan with this. But yeah, we enough building. So we got it spawned into the world right now, and I am just checking everything. I'm making sure our little our cooling unit in the refrigerator is working, and yeah. Anyways, we'll come back to that. And I'm just going to show you guys around. We'll close the door, make sure that's getting colder, and we'll head upstairs. But we will, however, definitely cause a fire later. So let's just give this thing a minute to warm up, and you guys can kind of see where the controls and the bridge are at. It has changed a good amount since then. I did add a switch for the HUD, so you don't need to just use the HUD, which is... It's really there because I needed instruments before everything was hooked up, and now I'm just kind of keeping it there. So there will be a switch for it, but anyways, the autopilot's in, and you guys can hear the submarine is spooling up. It is not a quiet creation. It's very, very loud. I actually have to turn the audio in this clip down. But anyways, enough of that. It's cool. It's fast. So we're gonna not worry about the noise issues. Just wear your earplugs to bed, I guess. Anyways, we have a rifle, and yeah, look, it's getting colder in there, so that's what we want. We want it to get cold in the cold storage room. So anyways, we're gonna start a fire, and we're just gonna let this thing do its thing, and I guess we'll come back on it in a few minutes. I'm gonna try to keep player damage on. Sometimes the heat gets to you. I'm trying to really show it to you guys visually. Obviously, if there was a fire going on, you probably wouldn't stand next to it. But I did add a few of the red sirens, which are kind of nice. There is no audible alarm, but yeah, you know, the flashing red lights probably are enough to tell you something bad's going on. The nice thing about the life support system is they do kind of attach if you open the doors between the spaces. So I'm just going to grab an SCBA real quick, and that way hopefully I can stand closer to the fire. But if I were to open the door, basically, the life support system upstairs would kick in and help this, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. But basically what we're looking for is the CO2 here needs to go below 15%, and then the fire will just extinguish itself, and then we will pump the CO2 out. So I'm just trying to make sure this doesn't spread too much. But yeah, you guys can see it's going down, it's going down, it's going down. Once the the O2 percentage hits 15, the fires will just go off. So let me turn player damage back on, and I just want to show you guys. There you go. Fire is pretty much out. Yeah, we'll give it a little bit of help there. But yeah, so basically, you guys can see the fire basically extinguished itself. And if I were to take the SCBA off, I would be able to breathe normally. So that is kind of the nice thing. You guys can see these numbers are headed back to where they should be. So let me pop the SCBA off, and we're not suffocating or anything. So that is pretty much how that works. I'm not going to get too much into it, but that is the life support system in a nutshell. And that is pretty much all we're going to do in this episode. Now I'm going to go around and kind of I'm going to play with the sub for a few minutes in the background, so you guys can, I guess, enjoy that if you want. But yeah, few updates, few things. I'm thinking of, I go through this a lot. If you're a longer viewer of the channel, you know, I'm thinking of getting away from Stormworks once again, not abandoning it, just adding other games. And so I started a Satisfactory playthrough. I did start a vote on this in the Discord, so if you want to be a participant in those kind of things, definitely check out the link below to the Discord. I will probably not be showing that for a few weeks just because I do want to get a head start on that. But that being said, I really do want to get the sub wrapped up. I want to get the diving ship wrapped up, and then the next big plan for Stormworks, the next build, as of right now, would be like I want to make the Starfarer from Star Citizen, if you know what that is. If not, I just encourage you look it up. It's going to be hard for me to explain it to you. But yeah, that's the next big thing. Mobius has been helping me with that because it's all going to be wheel glitch for flying. I want it to be a spaceship and a submarine. So that's just easier to do it that way. And it's a spaceship, so realism out the door. Anyways, numbers in the background are kind of getting equalized and whatnot, and I'm just running around checking on things while this thing runs. But yeah, so that's kind of the current game plan, and the Satisfactory world is, I don't know, I'm over my head. I'm going to be honest. I like that game, but I haven't ever finished it, and I'm starting it in like the desert, the hardest area that you can start it. But anyways, I do hope to see you guys there when I get that posted. I'll let you know more about that in the future, in the coming weeks. Again, trying to get back on schedule. I know lately we've been at one video a week, and it has been the Submarine. So the guys who like the sub, thank you. Really, anybody that's watching still, listening to me and my BS still, thank you. But yeah, so I've been trying to make the videos a little bit higher quality too. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Hopefully they should be a little bit of a little higher quality for you. I know I've definitely been putting more effort into like the videos, or into like the music and the time-lapse part and what I show you on camera, and a lot of like making sure there's gameplay in the videos and whatnot. But anyways, definitely let me know what you guys think of all of that. If you do like the more recent videos, they have been edited a little bit differently. So definitely let me know if you've noticed a difference, if they're better, if they're worse, if you like the music, if you don't. But yeah, for now, that is kind of just the game plan. I've been trying to make better videos, but also Stormworks, it's just, it gets to a point where only so many people are going to be interested in me building vehicles like this. And I like this game, but it's not going to last forever. And, I only really build things at a snail's pace that I'm interested in. So I do think incorporating some other games onto the channel would be a pretty good start. So anyways, guys, I am going to pretty much end my rant here. If you guys made it to the end of this episode, thank you so much, as always. I really appreciate the support. If you guys like this build, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll get it done. We'll get it on the workshop for you guys. I don't know when. If I had to guess, probably another month or so. But anyways, that's enough rambling for 1 week, I guess, guys. So I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the Discord, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.